Alana Banks, I have an important question for you. Why do you downplay your successes around family and friends? Before you answer, everybody listening, this is the No Excuses podcast. And today I'm just going to relentlessly hammer Alana Banks with questions about this subject because I know she's got a lot to say about it. And those of you that are listening, why do you downplay your successes around family and friends? If you do. I don't know if you do, but you probably do because a lot of people do. Okay, Alana, let's get started. Why do you do it?
Yeah, well, I think the main reason is sometimes I think we can just feel a little bit guilty. And so we tend to downplay the success to take the attention off of ourselves because, you don't want to appear to be like you're bragging or you're, taking the limelight or you're doing better than other people. And I think this sometimes just comes down to the fact that as a culture, and maybe this is a North American thing, we like to stay humble. So I think that for me anyway, was my default response. And I think that came from just modeling behavior of what I was seeing out in the world.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's programmed into us, not just in North America. I think it's kind of programmed into us in the world to, like you say, to be humble or, and downplay is the right word. It's like it's almost like frowned upon to be overly celebratory. And, I talked about this recently on a group coaching call that I was hosting. People bond often by complaining or by talking about what's not going right or by finding common grounds in the challenges in life. And I think maybe subconsciously people realize that if they focus in discussion with other people on the positives a lot, they're losing some of that common ground. They're losing some of that bonding space with the people that they are talking to, because it's so common for people to just whine and connect sometimes while drinking wine, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is like, this was something that I had to become consciously aware of when I started going deep with the whole personal development journey. And that was one of the things I let go of first was complaining and, connecting with people on that topic. And I would just remove myself from those conversations. And then I also consciously became aware of when I was complaining as part of conversations, but then also when I was downplaying what was going on for me, because it becomes apparent very quickly once you've kind of flipped to the other side, right? Like once you are starting to focus on your successes, once you are trying to stay in that sort of like positive side. And I'm not talking about like toxic positivity, like just bypassing your negative emotions, but just like trying to stay, look at everything with more of a neutral lens and choosing, okay, do I want to go deep into this like negative conversation or do I want to stay on the more positive side? What can I find that is positive? So definitely, I think it is a subconscious thing when we start to downplay because it's just something that we've always been doing. And as you said, that's like, it's a way to connect, right? It's a way to kind of develop rapport with people is just to kind of complain. But when you become more aware of it, you got to own your success. Mm-hmm. Because then what happens is that for a bit, it might be uncomfortable for you and the person, because then they're like, oh man, like I want that, right? I want to be happy like that. I want to feel success like that. But I think, it really comes down to just like owning your success, and it's going to feel uncomfortable for a little bit.
Yeah. It's important to own your success. Why do you think that is? Why do you think it's important to move away from this downplaying the good stuff and focusing on the negative?
Well, because it really starts to reprogram your own neurology to recognize, oh, I actually am doing well. I am winning. I am feeling good. And then it reinforces behaviors that are going to continue to put you into that trajectory.
Yeah. And what you focus on expands, right?
Yeah,
If and
totally.
I had a mentor one time that said spelling is called spelling because when you spell or use words, you're casting spells, right? The stuff that you say and the stuff that you write becomes more real. And there's actually, in my opinion, a scientific basis in this because you're firing the neurology around those, images, around those beliefs, around those negative experiences. And the more you fire that neurology, the stronger it becomes, right? So you're actually strengthening the like misery muscles in your mind when you complain and talk about and focus on what's not going well. And at the same time, you're missing an opportunity to strengthen the positivity or the gratitude or the success muscles, or AKA neurological pathways in the mind, which is a darn shame, is it not?
Yeah, it is. And especially once you wrap your head around the idea that, you create your reality, if you're spending your time downplaying your success, complaining, staying on the negative end of the spectrum, then what's your life going to look like? It's going to
Yeah.
be pretty dreary. But if you spend time celebrating your successes, speaking positively, looking at the good side of things, then you're going to be creating a life that's a lot more fun to be living in. And I tell this to my kids all the time, but I tell them, who do you like to hang out with? Who are you attracted to at school? Or what teachers are you really attracted to? Are you attracted to the ones who are fun and goofy and like have nicknames for you and that type of thing? Or are you attracted to the kind of like curmudgeon-y teachers or kids in the school? And 100% of the time they're like, oh, I love the fun teachers. Yeah. And I'm like, exactly. So if you want to attract people to you, then you want to get into that kind of energy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. When I was in school, there was a lot of those old curmudgeon-y children, kind of like skulking about. And I was one of them, right? I remember being in high school and like hanging out with people who would literally say, like, I feel old.
Yeah, totally.
It's so funny that you gave us that example. Really on point, really true. So I think we kind of covered why we downplay the successes around friends and family. It's a way to connect. It's polite. It's programmed into us. We're just kind of societally told not to gloat, not to stand out, right? Not to go against the grain. And we talked about the dangers of doing that neurologically and socially. And I think like one more question that probably we want to address is who are the people that focus on the positive? Who are the people that are unapologetic about celebrating what's going right in your life, right? Like I can think about who that is, and they're the most successful people that I know personally. It's those people who do focus on the positive, don't downplay. Like they don't gloat or brag, but they're honest, about the successes that they have in business, the successes that they have in relationships, the successes that they have in health, right? What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I agree with you. I mean, the people who are staying in that sort of positive vein and owning their success and sharing that with others are the ones in my life too who are the most successful. How do you go about stopping the downplay? One of those things would be to start actually celebrating your wins. And even if you don't feel comfortable sharing that with people, just even writing them down at the end of the day. Like some people have a gratitude journal. You could have like a winning journal or something like that, or like a things that are going well for me right now journal. Because if you start focusing on the things that you're winning at, you start recognizing like, oh, wow, I'm actually doing really well in my life.
Yeah. Agreed. Gratitude journal, taking note of what's going well. I think being unapologetic for what's going right in your life is fine, right?
Yeah.
As long as you're honest about it. Don't go around lying, but
yeah, and actually that's the thought I lost was, you don't have to be braggy about it, or mean or make it seem like you're better than everyone else. You can just like simply be honest, and when someone asks you how you're doing, instead of saying like, well, it's okay, you can say, I know things are going really well right now for me. I've got this thing going on and that thing going on, and I'm feeling really happy. and leave it
Yeah.
at that. You know, you don't have to even over explain it,
Yeah.
because I think, you know, as we said at the beginning, is just like the default is to just be like, not so good or whatever. Or sometimes you do need to be honest and be like, you know what, I have a really bad headache today. And
Yeah.
I'm not feeling that great.
Yeah.
But and leave it at that. But
Yeah.
I think, yeah, it just adds to your success. And, you know, even in the inner circle that, you know, we're part of and other coaching groups that I've been part of, we always start off the sessions with like, what are we celebrating this week? And I think that that is a really good way. It just gets you into the mindset of success,
Yeah.
right?
And of gratitude, and orienting your awareness to what's going well and what's going right so that it can expand.
Yeah.
I do want to share one more thing. I have very different views about social media than a lot of people, especially in the coaching industry. And there's this, you know, kind of movement of like taking breaks from social media. I don't believe in that personally, because if you need to like decide to take a break from something, your relationship with it is off to begin with, right? It's like announcing, oh, I'm going to take a break from carrots for a few months. That's clear evidence that something is wrong with your relationship with carrots. A regular person who eats carrots at a normal amount doesn't need breaks from it. They just naturally consume them whenever it's appropriate. Same goes with social media. That's not the point I wanted to make. The point I wanted to make about social media is that right next to this, like, I need to take breaks from social media. No judgment on you if you're one of those people that does that. Bless you. Keep doing it. All the best to you. I just have a different view. But right next to that is this, like, everything on social media is fake and everybody is just like showing you their highlight reel on social media. And my response to that is, yeah, of course. It's common sense. Why would I post stuff that is sad and like the low light reel of my life? It's common sense that if somebody's posting stuff and they're like celebrating what's going right in their life and they're showing you their vacation and they're showing you, you know, what's going well in business, that there's other parts of their life that aren't so glamorous that they're just not putting there, right? Maybe I'm being a little blunt. Maybe I'm back into aggressive mode with this opinion, but I do feel strongly about this. I have no problem with those people that celebrate what's going right unapologetically, because I just look at them and for me, it's common sense. There's other parts of their life that I'm not seeing, but look, they're choosing to focus on what's going the best and share it with the world. And I can choose to be offended and jealous, or I can choose to be inspired and happy for that person.
Yeah.
And which is the stronger, more successful mindset, right?
Yeah, like I find it extremely motivating, because everything that you're seeing and you're catching as you're watching these celebrations or, you know, these highlight reels, you're seeing something in them that you know is in you, that you want to bring out further or something. So if you are going to that judgmental, jealous place, it's likely because you know it's inside you, but you're afraid to do it, or, you know, you have some kind of issue with it. Because chances are, if you're seeing someone's highlight reel and you're totally like jiving with it, then you're just like rooting them on because it's motivating you, or maybe you're celebrating the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm with you. And whenever I work with clients, and I used to do a lot more like social media type coaching, but I would tell my clients to unfollow anyone that was kind of like bringing them down or was sharing a low light reel, because some people do choose to use social media to just complain. I tell them immediately, just stop following those people, unfollow them, and only follow the people who are showing their happy highlights.
Yeah.
Because it's going to make you feel good.
Yeah. And I mean, there is something to be said if we're looking at the highlight reels and comparing our, you know, other people's success to our own and feeling bad about that. And I think the thing to be said about that is stop, right? When you look at highlight reels, it's never ever for the purpose of comparing to where you are, because the only race you're in is the race against yourself and the past you, right? If you're looking at other people's highlight reels, it needs to be through a lens of inspiration and gratitude, and seeing what is possible and knowing that it's possible for you too. If somebody else has done something, you can do it too, right? And just as you say, Alana, if you're looking at somebody who's being happy and successful and you're feeling anything but happy and admiration and inspired, if you're feeling jealous or angry, or you're like, you know that noise, right? If you're feeling that, I mean, that's just a good indicator that there's something in yourself that it's time to address, that it's time to work on, because you can have that stuff too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. You just need to do a little digging.
Yeah.
Call us.
Yeah. Call Anna. Call Anna. Call me. Yeah.
But I did hear this quote this morning that I thought was kind of relevant for this. And it said, if we argue for our limitations, we get to keep them. But if you argue your possibilities, you get to create them. And that's a quote, I think, by Richard Bach, but don't quote me on that. But I think this quote is a good way to maybe end this episode. But it's just like, if you want to argue your limitations and you want to stay stuck in downplaying your successes and not really owning your success, then do that.
Yeah.
Or you can create your reality and argue your possibilities.
Yeah.
But make sure you choose the right people to talk about those with.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I want to share a quote too.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Michael Caine, the actor, who's awesome, said in an interview he never listens to people explain why they cannot do something, because then he might be convinced that they're right. Right?
Mm-hmm. I like that one too.
I'm not going to explain it. I'm just going to, there you go.
Ponder that one.
Yeah.
Dear listeners.
Simmer. Let it simmer. Okay, we're done for this one, I think. Yes?
Yes. Great.
Cool. Where can they find you?
They can find me at Alana Banks Coaching on Instagram. And I finally finished my website copy yesterday. So by the time this is live, you can go to alanabanks.com.
Sweet.
Check me out there.
I will be there. I'm just going to have it open in a tab on my computer all the time, along with 95 other tabs. Okay. So very good, Alana. Thank you. That's going to be it for today. I'm Ryan Montes, ryanmontes.com, at Ryan Montes NLP on the Instagram, and see you all next time. Thanks, everyone.